Well, hello there, Mortal Kombat fans.
Hey, everyone.
So happy to have you here. My name is Nathan.
And I am Zach.
We are siblings, and you're listening to the podcast that mostly focuses on trauma from our pasts, our personal trauma, religious trauma.
Indeed.
We both come from the Christian Evangelical Church because we were born from Christian parents who are pastors. Oh, we both walked away from the Christian religion many years ago. Less years for Zachary, more years for me. But here we are, meeting in the middle in one of the greatest studios in the world.
Skyline, dude.
The garage. Together as we discuss our pasts and connect more as siblings and to strengthen our family bond together. As you could imagine, there have been cracks and dents and what have you from the family since we have walked away. I'm happy to have everybody here, so thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
If you missed us last week, that's because we are making some changes to our podcast. What are those changes, Zachary?
We would like to bring you all a more well-produced show. We can kind of find ourselves winging it most weeks. It is tough to do every single Sunday, especially when you're talking about your own personal trauma. And we have wanted to make a change where we're going to start podcasting every other week. And on our off weeks, we're going to be preparing the podcast. Like the podcast we prepared for tonight.
Yes. They call that pre-production.
Yes.
We've always been like stellar at post-production. Like DJing is mostly planning the set, producing music, mixing, mastering. There is the performance, but there's so much back of house post-production. We're not the greatest at pre-production, just being honest. So we're trying to give more weight to the areas that we're not the greatest at, that we know we need to give more time and energy for this podcast. We've also been mentioning a lot that we're going to be doing interviews soon. And to be able to do that, we need to be able to have the time and resources to make that happen.
Indeed.
And Zachary and I are the ones, producing, editing, posting, sharing, expressing, acting, delivering everything that you see and hear on this podcast. And we want to deliver more now. As always, right now in recent news, daily, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there is the horrific genocide happening in Gaza and in Palestine. And another place Zachary and I have found ourselves is wanting to be more educated and more involved in any ways that we can see fit with this crisis that has been going on for 100 years. We both have become more educated. And I have been lucky enough to join some more Zoom classes and meetings from professors and other people that have degrees in Middle Eastern studies. And so I'm starting to get more of my head wrapped around the history of all of this. We also feel a little bit sour stomach from not delivering that information more on this podcast and using our platform as a resource for us to learn more and also to use our voice where we stand and where our values are as individuals, as privileged men, as we've identified most of our lives. And we're going to do better on trying to use our platform here as a place to get that information, to share that information with you, and to really organically and honestly learn together. It just feels so weird not doing that.
Totally.
Free Palestine.
Definitely. Ceasefire immediately.
Although I know keeping hope alive is important, it doesn't seem like that's happening anytime soon, nor has it ever happened in the past. And so very, very soon, I think we are going to be able to land an interview with a very well-educated individual with Middle Eastern studies who is a documentary director and creator and has shared their information documentary around the world for like 10 years now, or 5 years or however long it's been out, but they made it for over 10 years. I won't say too much more, but just look forward also for what we're trying to build here on the podcast, what we feel is really important.
Totally. It's very important, especially right now.
Anything else you want to say about that?
Mortal Kombat stands with Palestine. Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Definitely. We just, this past weekend, we went to the San Francisco protest for freeing Palestine and ceasing fire, and 50,000 people showed up, and it was the biggest protest I've ever been a part of. And I also did a Black Lives Matter protest here in the county that we live in, and that was another huge one, but this one was like no other. And so it is, yeah, it's a melancholy feeling because there's a lot of people in support of freedom of religion and freedom to free Palestine and cease fire. And it's not happening, but it's nice to see a lot of people in agreement on the same thing.
But yeah, I think that's internationally across the world.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm seeing is there's a lot of voices, people in the communities, people of these countries raising their voices. But as we know, most governments don't stand by their people. The governments are not the people themselves. They kind of govern themselves, and they decide things based on what they think is best for their views of the world and control and power. Yeah, that protest was amazing. And there are protests happening daily. And as more I'm learning in this history is the refugees in Gaza, the people of Gaza, and of all over Palestine, but specifically in Gaza, have been protesting for literally like 20 years every week. And so I feel pretty ridiculous getting caught up to all this now. And with our history and the way we were raised in the Christian evangelical church, if any of you are wondering, why is it, if you were also raised with a Christian background, why is it so easy to know the history of Zionism and the chosen people? I think it's all interconnected. This is not a religious war, but goddamn, there's a lot of religion that has been forcing information and viewpoints and stigmas and very wrong history in our lives for a long time. And so we both come out of a like Judeo-Christian historical family. And that's why we also find that our platform here is extremely important to be using for what we're learning, what we can try to be more clear at, and how to be more useful in this world.
Totally.
When you feel so useless.
Totally.
So if you don't like that, or if you don't stand by that, honestly,
just don't follow us then. Like we don't need you as a subscriber, sadly. I'm so sorry. Or I would just advise you to do a little more research.
That's what you want to say, but I do know that these are things that do, I think, break people apart, right? It's like,
yeah, but I mean, I don't support genocide.
Of course not.
And so I fully believe that if you're standing with Israel, you're supporting a genocide right now.
Yeah.
So it's black and white, sadly. And we talk about we were raised black and white, but this situation is black and white. It feels that way.
Yeah, it feels so complicated, but it's simple.
I mean, it probably is more complicated than it could ever have been, but
I think I'm excited for who's going to come on.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can if we can nail this down. The history is all there.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. And I've had some people tell me some of the history too, and it's so much history it doesn't fully absorb. But everything I hear, I'm just like, free Palestine, dude. Free Palestine.
Yeah. And that's why I think like you and I both are in different places with how we're receiving information, how we're learning, and what we're putting ourselves in. And then we meet every week, or now every other week here.
Well, it's still every week for us because we're meeting up to plan.
Yeah. But it's like we meet every week to like talk about our lives and where we're at and how we feel about what's going on in the world. And so we both are also educating each other just based on like what we're becoming more aware of in our own personal connections to this history. Yeah. We told ourselves we'd only talk for a few minutes, but...
Oh, wow. It's 9 minutes. Okay. That's totally fine. We have a different type of podcast today, so it's totally fine.
Yeah. We're going to cut it. We'll cut it there, and we're going to jump into our episode today. And in today's episode, we are presenting to you a deep dive, if you will, a story that was recently in all of our news. Whether you saw it or not, it depends what social media platforms you use or what trended in your face at that day. Because what I saw was when this story went up, it went away in a day. And I called Zach and I said, as we decided to do different podcast styles and try to bring new content that isn't just our personal trauma, we talked about this story together, and it seemed very pertinent that it connected to our podcast and would create a good conversation. And so here we bring to you the tragic death of Mayor F.L. Bubba Copeland. Let's get started.
Let's do it.
Buckle up if you're watching. Buckle up if you're listening. It's story time. This is a very tragic story. It's very sad, of course, with a very sad ending. Let's give a little backdrop on who this Mayor F.L. Bubba Copeland was. In the small town of Smith Station, Alabama, Mayor F.L. Bubba Copeland left a significant mark through his dedicated public service, starting with his influential role on the Lee County Board of Education. His tenure there from 2005 to 2016, overseeing the local school zone, laid a strong foundation for his later role as mayor. Elected in 2016, Copeland brought a vision that balanced growth with maintaining the town's small town charm. His strategic approach, exemplified by his decision to pause his political career in 2012, and his initiatives as mayor, demonstrated a comprehensive understanding of governance. Copeland's leadership particularly shone during the F4 tornado crisis in 2019, where his effective management and collaboration with national figures like President Trump earned him recognition from the East Alabama Chamber of Commerce. I keep saying Alabama.
I know.
Alabama. Yeah, my fiance's Southern family's accent's coming in. This mayor that we're talking about in that little backdrop there a little bit is this is a really sad story of an individual that ended up taking their own life very recently in the beginning of this month, who was a mayor, a pastor, a husband, a father, stepfather, and why they took their own lives is what got this news story out and what really kind of lit Zach and I up to want to talk about this story more. Here's a quote from Mayor F.L. Bubba Copeland. Give you a little more of just this personality, if you will. I want to work with the businesses we have in this city to help them grow and understand their needs, he told the Columbus Ledger-Enquirer. But I want to create a chamber of commerce and go outside the city and recruit new businesses. This place could blow up if we had somebody with vision. And Bubba Copeland, Mayor F.L. Bubba Copeland, definitely had a lot of vision for his small, maybe 5,000 people in this town.
It was 5,000 people.
5,000 people in this very small Alabama town.
Smith Station.
Beyond his political career, Copeland was also a pastor of First Baptist Church in Phoenix City and owned the Country Market in Salem, Alabama. Pastor, businessman. These roles showcased his multifaceted abilities, balancing spiritual guidance, some would say, and entrepreneurial savvy. This dude was a businessman, a spiritual pastor. We know a little bit about that. His presence in both spiritual and business sectors of the town built trust and reinforced his reputation as a leader committed to the community's well-being. Another quote from Mayor F.L. Bubba Copeland. They say, I always say we are Mayberry 2023, he said during a March interview with Columbus WRBL, some news station. It really is like everybody knows your name. You know, everybody dies famous in a small town. That's what it is. It is Friday Night Lights. It is Mama's apple pie. Our community is very, very low crime, very low drug abuse. Our number one problem is suicide. It is sad. I think a lot of it has to do with military. I think some of it has to do with social media and the reality of that. That's the number one problem we have. This is a quote, literally, from Mayor F.L. Bubba Copeland. Finishing this sort of just personality history of him, if you will, or of them. In his personal life, Copeland's journey included 2 marriages and embracing the role of a father and a stepfather, navigating the complexities of a blended family. However, the revelation of his secret online persona, where he engaged in drag, brought unforeseen challenges in public scrutiny, particularly affecting his family life. This exposure placed his family, including his wife and children, under a public microscope, testing their resilience and adaptability. Copeland's personal struggles highlighted the difficult balance between public persona and private family life, especially under the intense scrutiny of media and public opinion. Mayor F.L. Bubba Copeland, a sweet, pretty basic, gentle dude, right?
Indeed.
I mean, he's like as Southern as it gets.
Very Southern. And Mama's apple pie Southern.
Mama's apple pie Southern. Me and Zach wrote that, kind of put that together. And as a way just to give this gentleman, this individual, just more of a background, because the story got released that this gentleman.
Well, are you going to just spew it out now? Because don't we have more to go?
No, that's the end of our story background. Okay. But I think this story's everywhere.
Yeah. But the story only says one side. That's why it's so important that we knew who this person was.
Exactly. Literally all the research Zach and I did, and God damn it, we did a lot of research.
Yeah.
It was so hard to find anything but the life of a pretty
hardworking, devoted,
normal
mayor.
White man.
Yeah.
they live in this small town of Alabama. They have this desire to be political, go into politics. They go into education. They're really for the people, by the people, for the people.
Yeah.
His community loved him.
Yeah.
This tiny town loved their mayor. They made it on the big screen, made it on the big national news when we brought up that they had a really bad tornado.
Bad tornado.
And it ripped their small town up. And he kind of spearheaded all of that natural disaster relief and funding and what have you. And old school President Trump made his way over there, and that's what got him, boom, national famous.
Yeah.
Especially in the Republican, conservative, Christian, right-winged world. We would never talk about somebody like this in our cast who's like a conservative, right-winged, Republican, Christian pastor. No, this is the type of person that triggers us.
Yeah, 100%.
But there's so much more that meets the eye than what meets the eye with everybody. You never know what anyone's going through. Yeah, the next part of the story is what jumps into the meat. It jumps into the sad, tragic death of Bubba Copeland. And it talks, this brings up our conversation of us using this story to talk about the impacts of social media, mental health, religious walls, conservative walls, the pressures of public outing, because there's this whole thing of the Me Too movement, powerful, effective, finally. People who have never had a voice have a voice now, and it's shutting down the powerful people that are rapists and sex junkie, all those motherfuckers. Then there's this other part of this outing, right? Where you out someone's private life that has nothing, that's not hurting anybody, it's not doing any harm. It's literally not supposed to be known. It's none of your business. And there's media sources, right, that are trying to dig up shit on public faces all the time. Me and Zach have talked about this, that at some point they're going to find dirt on us.
Great.
But our dirt's not that bad.
No. And I wouldn't even classify this as bad dirt. It's just...
But I'm just saying that space, community, culture, the state, everything matters. So if you are a public figure in a southern, small, sweet town of Alabama, and you're a pastor, you're a business owner at the local market, you own the local market, how much better can you get on paper, right? This is top to bottom, the perfect conservative leader. They're involved in their community. They pray for their community. They lead their community.
They're a pastor in their community.
They pray all that, yeah. So literally at the beginning of this month, there was a conservative news story or conservative news outlet, which we've talked a lot on this podcast. We say whatever the fuck we want. And this gave us an opportunity to really kind of, for me to look into more of these tiny conservative news outlets that are actually out there. And yeah, it's really interesting kind of like diving into the news or diving into the culture of the side that Zach and I, like, we don't want to draw lines or have sides, but like we pretty much talk a lot against the Christian evangelical church here.
Yeah.
And so anything like that, Baptist, Pentecostal, whatever church it is, it's like, you know. But this story kind of gave me a softer spot for just the fact that we're all freaking human.
Yeah.
We're just human beings. So beginning of this month, there was a very conservative news station that literally, when I went to their website, they're called 1819 News.
Yeah.
Got a hold of some pictures and an online portfolio of Bubba Copeland, who would supposedly at night, secretly in their lives, with their wife, with their family, would dress drag. And
write erotica.
And they had a Reddit, they had an Instagram. And why do we know this? Well, because literally this conservative news outlet didn't just share a picture. They literally shared every portfolio, every online thing with quotes. And they just revealed this secret part of this mayor's life in the most vile way possible. Bubba Copeland knew that this article was going to come out. They contacted him and said, hey, we know we found this information online. We're going to release an article. And he pleaded them, please don't release this. This is my private life. This is going to ruin my fans, put my family in danger. This is going to put all of us in danger. And they said, fuck it, we don't fucking care. And they did it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read our next little written snippet that talks about really what this is all about. In a recent development reported by the conservative news outlet 1819 News, it was revealed Bubba Copeland led a double life online. Under the pseudonym Brittany Blair Summerlin, Copeland identified as a transitioning transgender curvy girl. Real quick, mind you, what I found very interesting looking into this story and the articles written by the conservative news outlets was the immense amount of weight that was put on this word transgender.
Yeah.
Very obvious that, at least from what we're seeing from the situation, this person was not transgender. They were dressing drag at night.
They're cross-dressing,
and had a second.
Which, if you know anything about the LGBTQ community, that's not the same thing as being transgender.
No, it's a very big issue.
Huge.
And it really hurts people that are identify as transgender, that are transitioning. We don't know Copeland personally, and we only knew all the information that we could find online. Okay, that's what this deep dive was. And this individual, the mayor, did put on their description was this, though, transitioning transgender curvy girl. So little do we know they were maybe very secretly were transitioning.
Yeah.
We don't know. But we did find a lot of that term being misused in these conservative news outlets. Transgender seems to be the most hottest word to use that has to do with anything with a man identifying as anything but a man.
Yeah. They can't take it, man. They can't handle it.
It's crazy.
It is.
They cannot handle it.
They can't.
According to the blog, he maintained an active presence on Reddit and a private Instagram account under this identity. Tragically, the story took a turn when, during a welfare check, Copeland tragically ended his life in the presence of the police, as confirmed by the Lee County Sheriff's Office. So they very sadly shot themselves, literally in front of the police. In response to this event, First Baptist Church expressed gratitude for the community's support through a Facebook post. They said, "Thank you for all your prayers and expressions of sympathy and support. First and foremost, we ask that you keep Pastor Bubba Copeland's family in your prayers today and in the days ahead. We greatly appreciate your messages, comments, and encouragement. Please continue to pray for us as we move forward in sharing God's love to all people. Pray?
Just keep praying.
The church that he was a pastor of, they just said, thank you for your prayers.
Yeah, thanks for praying.
Not about how did this happen.
Yeah.
Prior to this incident, Copeland addressed his congregation about the situation. And this video is online. In a live streamed sermon on Wednesday, he stated, I've been the object of an internet attack. He mentioned having taken photos with his wife in their home and expressed regret for any embarrassment caused by his private and personal life. 1819 News reported that Copeland acknowledged his involvement with the social media accounts, describing them as a means of stress relief, a hobby, and a fantasy. He had deleted these accounts following contact from the news blog and requested that the details not be publicized. This is the actual time frame, if you will, of when this all of what we're talking about went down. 3 days. November 1st, 2023, the conservative news outlet 1819 News published an expose revealing Mayor Copeland's secret life as a, here we go again, transgender woman online, although not a specifically transgender woman. This revelation included explicit photos and descriptions of his online activities. That article is still online. November 2nd. The day following the expose, Copeland addressed his congregation at the First Baptist Church of Phoenix City. So it's like that's like 1 day. Mm-hmm. News articles out. Bam.
You mean you would have to, man? How could you not?
Yeah, I mean, and
we've been a part of the church. We know how bad this would be.
Yeah. And we've seen a lot when growing up in the church, and they talked about it immediately. Man, there are no secrets. No. During this address, he apologized for his actions and the controversy caused by the exposure of his online activities. It's horrible. So sad.
Next day.
November 3rd, 2023, Mayor Copeland tragically committed suicide. His death was a direct consequence of the distress and public scrutiny following the expose.
Thanks for reading all that, Nathaniel. That was a lot.
Thanks for helping me write it.
Yeah, I'm here to help. And that's the show. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, Mayor Bubba Copeland, sweet man, identified as a man, right? He's always identifying as a man, and then and is amazing in his community. He's loved, even makes it Trump famous.
Yeah.
Weren't you were the one that was talking to me, though, about how Mayor Copeland was also like heavily involved. You know, I read that quote from him about mental health and how suicide was the number one death or like problem
in their town.
In their tiny town.
Town of 5,000, their number one cause of death was suicide. And there was a big suicide from a student at the Smith Station school or high school, whatever it is, in 2019.
Or like a suicide that made a big impact.
Made a big impact in him and other students and stuff. And he would lead them to put signs on the side of the roads that would be like, keep hope alive. And there's people that love you all over the roads there in town. And then he became a big like suicide advocate.
Like bringing resources to the town, getting more mental health resources and funding and like, yeah. Which like also just makes this situation so much more heavy.
Yeah.
And so much on our cast were like pretty pissed off with the right. Pretty pissed off with Christian right people. And I just have like so much, I actually have, after like with this story, just have been feeling like a lot of love. Wishing that like this person should have gotten after this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they did, but not.
I don't know. I mean, I would like to know how the church handled it, and I'd like to know more info. Like we said, we dug very, very deep, and that we only could find this much. And so
found so much on the pretty amazing life he lived, I guess.
Yeah. He achieved a lot, and he was very hardworking, and he loved his town so much.
Yeah, he gave a lot to his town, and he's the type of mayor that any small town or city or would want, right? It's like you want somebody that's actually going to do what they say.
Yeah. And dude, what makes this story so really actually important, especially for this podcast, is there are so many people in this religion of Christianity And I'm going to just keep it at that because that's what I know. And I don't want to state it for any other religion, but I know for Christianity, there are so many people that when they get outed or when they're not accepted for being gay or transgender or just cross-dressing on the internet, and they feel the guilt and the shame because their religion doesn't accept them anymore. So they kill themselves. That's such a common story. This is just one of them. And this one's brutal. A news article released his secret life and it ends this tragically, but this is happening all the time and it's not being released on a news article. It's just someone's son or daughter that gets outed in their own way or however that it happens, and they end their life. And man, I remember being a part of the faith and thinking that these types of people were so sick and they needed Jesus to save them. And it's just so the opposite. It's like if you could go back and what would you say to yourself now if that kid was in front of you? What would you say? My younger self? About that? Nothing I could say would change my mind then. I needed to surround myself with the LGBTQ community enough to know that it wasn't what I was taught, which we talked about that on a previous podcast, but my younger self was blinded, man, the same way a lot of these pastors and a lot of people that are raised in this religion are blinded to it. And there is nothing wrong with being who you are meant to be. There's just absolutely nothing wrong with it, and the religion loves to make it wrong. And Jesus loves to tell you who to love. God loves to tell you who to love. And if a God of love has to tell you who to love, it's not that loving.
Right. I think you made a really serious point that this is happening all the time on many different levels. And this is just a very hot story because it's a Southern mayor who's like all these things. And then in their dark life, in their top secret dark life, it's so bad. It's so top secret that the outing of it, I mean, imagine Trump knew him. What would Trump think, right? Yeah. Pressures of these leaders. Trump makes me feel so proud when they came to my town, but now Trump knows that I cross-dress at night. It's like, I don't think I think
Trump's got a lot going on in his life right now. He probably doesn't even know this happened.
Exactly. I'm talking about
what he's at.
That when I the thoughts that go through your mind when you have such crippling shame.
Oh, and they must have had so much shame.
And it's so sad. They have a family and they're married. Their wife was aware. The public shame was too much for this individual to keep going. When I watched their speech to their church, one of the things that Bubba Copeland said was, I know that I'm not a beautiful man, and I know I'm not a beautiful woman. And he kept saying other things. But when I heard them say that, there was just this feeling of deep down inside, I think this person's has been hurting. It's probably why there was and I know we're speculating a lot here, but why would somebody be such a huge advocate for suicide and mental health as a leader in their town, and then end up falling victim to that crisis, is we're all patients. We all suffer. We're all going through darkness. We all have that. I don't think anyone gets out alive without dealing with that. Some people are really good at not feeling it. And this person had a really, probably an amazing outlet for that.
Yeah.
That pain. Just to feel that normalness, just to feel it. They call it a fantasy, but they're being themselves. Safely, right? Safely. I don't have a personal Facebook anymore. There was a time years ago where and I'm not comparing myself to this or anything. I'm just saying that public scrutiny or being anything that happens online where you feel like your privacy is being jeopardized is super, super scary.
It is.
It just is. So if you have it on this level where hey, we know that you want nobody to know about this and we're posting it for literally the whole world to see.
And you're the center of that public. So you're the mayor, you're the pastor, you own a business, all in the town, and all of it will probably get scrutinized because of this one thing.
I mean, how could it not?
Yeah.
This is a Southern conservative. I say Southern conservative.
Well, it's Alabama too.
It's Alabama.
It's not even just like New Orleans Southern. It's Alabama Southern. And if you've ever been to Alabama, it's like one of the more red states.
I love Alabama.
It's so beautiful.
It's
man.
beautiful. I love it there.
It's so beautiful. Nothing of green is Alabama.
A lot more, like, if you've ever been to Mobile, it smells like oil. Holy shit. It just oils in the air. Why does it smell like this? And Megan's just like, oh, it smells like that here. I'm like, interesting.
Interesting.
Wow. We're so lucky to have a more salty sweetness in our air.
Yeah, it just smells like poop.
They call it wine.
And poop.
And fertilizer.
A lot of poop.
Something else you were bringing up is just about this story that the mayor also impersonated somebody from their town, right?
He supposedly actually impersonated two people. There's these two women that came out as supposed victims of...
which, mind you, like anytime there's any sort of, right?
Always.
People coming out to like use this as an opportunity to get famous or get their name on something.
But he supposedly used...
Take it with a grain of salt.
Ansley, I think it is, Summerlin's name. So Summerlin, that was part of his... Brittany Summerlin was his name, or their name. And she found some of her photos posted online without her permission, linked to explicit content. And another woman, an employee at a local hair salon, found her name used in an online story she believes Copeland wrote, where she was described in graphic detail. Both women were deeply affected, but the unauthorized use of their identities in such contexts.
Their identities being used.
Yeah.
While the mayor's hiding theirs.
Which, I mean, if what they're saying is true, that would be pretty messed up. I'd be pretty pissed off too, but they took their own life.
Yeah.
It's bigger deal than, him using some of their names and posting some pictures.
I don't know. Whatever was going on with the mayor and whatever is like their private life, I think is like one of the things that when we were doing the story was like thinking like, this is the only part of their life that's come out not private now.
Yeah.
Right. So everything else, we don't know anything about them. But from what we could find, they seem like a pretty stand-up individual.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were some people that got hurt in this context or whatever. But yeah, like you said, when it comes to the individual committing suicide, taking their own life within a matter of 3 days or 2 days of this information coming out, the writing's on the wall. They were advocating for this disease, this issue, this crisis in America that is seriously detrimental to our population.
It's in the top 10 most common deaths in America. It's actually like higher than a lot of diseases.
And I am a big person that stands by the, suicide by drug overdose. Like these, drug addictions can lead to death, can like lead to overdoses. And it's like, this is like a form of just loathing, right? It's so much sadness. And so that's like the final, that's like the choice that ends all choices. And what I was saying was there was a time when I was on when I deleted my Facebook, it was all because somebody had found me and somebody else was following me that I didn't know about it on Facebook and had been following me for 2 years, and it ended up biting me in the ass because they knew so much about my life and they were planning something against me. And that was crazy to experience that because I was sharing so much of my public life through Blouse and our DJ stuff. And so the way that I presented myself online was completely opposite than my truth. My truth was I was a college student, I drank a lot, studied a lot, and but we played a show as much as we could, but it was rare still. And but my social media persona made me look like this fucking rich
rock star, dude.
Rock star.
Yeah.
And I was just living my life, but I didn't realize that I was just literally, I felt the weirdness of it, but I was presenting myself in a way that wasn't truthful. I don't know. Maybe we all do that with our social media accounts. And, and so somebody had been stalking me through Facebook and then used that as a means to hurt me, really bad. And it was really scared me about social media. I was just damn, dude, you can get really hurt if you just share shit on here. If you just always share your life, you can get hurt. Mm-hmm. Everyone can just know about you. And then it was a couple years, or a year after that I was out at this bar and this homeless person came up to me and they looked younger, like my age. And they were like, "Hey, you're Nathan Blawstone." And I was like, whoa, it's like, please don't, like, and it was like, you know, like, it's all good. And like, "You're Nathaniel." I thought they were homeless. I think they were homeless. And they were just like, "You're Nathaniel Blawstone." And I was like, "How do you know my name?" And they're like, "Oh, Facebook." And I was like, and they're like, "Yeah, you have a son, so-and-so." And they said my son's full name. And I was like, "Why do you know my son's, how do you know my name? Like, why are you following me? Who are you?" And they're like, "Come on, man. Like, we used to, like, your dad's a pastor." And they started saying things about the church. And I was like, I was like, wait a minute. Why does this random person that appears to be homeless know my full name, knows my son's name? I went home that night and learned how hard it was to delete Facebook, but tried to delete Facebook. And then I spent that week like learning how hard it was to get rid of Facebook. I was like, oh my God, it's so hard to get rid of it. Supposedly, yeah, but that was like years ago and I deleted it. And that changed so much on me being more honest about what am I putting online? Why am I putting it online? You know, who's going to see it? Who's going to use the information? All that to say is I have never gone through something like this, not even close, where someone has like taken a picture of me, you know, drunk, being an asshole in my past and been like, "By the way, Nathan's a real I've never, like, no one's ever done that.
Yeah.
But I've experienced a little bit of personal fear, you know, from like, and it totally affected my whole life of how I have a relationship with it.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced anything like with social media shame or someone using it against you?
Not social. I mean, I wouldn't say social media, but I've been cyberbullied to a pretty extreme amount through high school. I don't even know the gender of the people, but these, like, people would text me when I had my first girlfriend in high school, and they would text me all these terrible things they're going to do to her for years, for like the whole time I dated her, for like 2 years. Someone wanted us not together, and they somehow got my number, and they'd use an unknown number, and they'd consistently contact me, and they'd send me like 100 texts a day on just how they wanted to rape her and how they wanted me to watch. And
weird.
I was a junior in high school, man. I was like 17 years old, 18 years old. And it's so weird having to deal with something like that because you can't really process it and you don't know who it is and you don't feel safe. And you just keep going on. And you're like, I don't know. What else do you do? But the internet is a wild, like, forest of any possibilities. And the worst of worst things can happen, and stuff like this can happen where an 1819 news station, whatever, releases an article and it blows up enough that this person kills themselves.
I mean, it's clear that 2 points I want to make. The first point was you brought up what I was talking about was like being stalked through social media. You talk about cyberbullying, and like, if you have ever gone to the comments of our podcast, right? So you can look at those comments and just see the hate or the malice or the direct trying to get to hurt us, right? That's so real on YouTube. It's like a huge thing on YouTube. And Reddit is insane. That's why they call it the Reddit hole. You can just go deeper and deeper and deeper, and people get lost in these comments. I do, because they're so fun. Just to see what people talk about. But if you ever go to one like this, where I found some of the social media posts where this article got posted, and the amount of hate in that comment section towards this individual, you know, of this very strong, radical, conservative, you know, group that thinks of transgender as being like the end of all ends, you know, just destroyed him and said things in like, "Go kill yourself." Like comments that were like, "Can't wait for you to die.
Yep.
Take your family on the way." And as I'm reading them, I'm like, oh my God, this is so fucked up. This is, and like, that's how YouTube is. That's how, like, and I know that there's a lot of like governance, right? With these social, they say that they're constantly filtering out and whatnot. But you can't. There's so much that isn't filtered out, especially on these private conservative news outlets. You can go search right now and see. There's just unbelievable the amount of hate that came towards this individual in forms of cyberbullying. And so you have public shame. You have insane hate and darkness through social media on commenting on all this. Their private pictures just there in comments, just blasting them. family shame. They're embarrassed. Yeah, businesses are going to suffer. All the things going through their head, they're like, it's over. There's no way they could get out of this. And
So
if they were
quick.
suffering too already from depression and anxiety, and if they had suicidal ideation,
Maybe that's why they were such an advocate for suicide.
because they know because they suffer from
Because they have the
themselves.
same pain, yeah.
Boom, that's it. They kill themselves, and the rest is history.
And we move on, and then we forget.
How do we, like, where do you go from here?
You stop telling people they're living the wrong life, dude. You stop shaming people for being who they are, and stop thinking that sexuality is not a spectrum.
So then, like, this is an issue that is deep-seated within the laws, the culture, the hate, right? It's like, why is this so secret? You know, why do you have to be so secret?
Yeah, because
This happened because then this much hate
then
happens.
they couldn't have done anything they wanted to do with their lives. They couldn't have been a mayor. They couldn't have been a pastor. They probably could have been a business owner, but in Alabama, the business would have been trashed if that came out. So it's like it had to be a secret.
It
had to be a secret.
to accomplish anything that a good Christian white male wants to accomplish.
Yeah.
You most definitely can't get any of that if you're doing that.
Yeah.
Which means that culture that is politics, that culture that is leadership in this country, for the most part, these especially Southern conservative states, you know, it's like, God forbid they elect a woman, right? It's like, this is like,
God forbid they elect a transgender.
That's what I'm saying. Is
Yeah.
like transgenders are far, right? It's like, I don't know. It's, I think you make a really good point. This is why it's top secret, because these cultures and these communities do not accept you unless you're one thing,
Mhm.
a white male. Right?
Yeah. You know, we were raised with the belief that we were unconditional loving to everyone, and that the church was just a big ball of love, and all we do is love everyone, and we accept everybody. And we didn't, obviously. It's super obvious now. But I honestly believe that realizing that and seeing that contrast coming out of the church, the non-conservative, hyper-religious people, the opposite of that, from what I've found, is way more loving, inclusive, and caring. Not to say that everyone is. Obviously, there's people that aren't religious, that are left, that are psychopaths. It's just going to be a thing. But there's so many more.
Oh yeah, they're all. People are people.
Yeah, and there's just so much more love, man. And I think that if you're ever going to be a part of anything in this world that says you have to be a man, or you have to be a woman, and you have to love this way, or you have to love this person, that is not love. It is just not love. And if you disagree with that, just really think about what I just said, because it's just so not love.
Yeah.
It's just not. And it puts people in a position where they can't be themselves. And if you think that depression isn't real, try to fake yourself for years and years and years. Just fake who you are and watch yourself want to not be alive anymore. So I think this is just not going to stop happening unless the society starts to change, unless the culture starts to change. And I'm not even saying we got to get rid of religion. That's the problem. It's like, no, religion has to change.
Let's get rid of religion.
It's just
Let's abolish religion. That's a success, Zachary. That's the best thing you've ever said.
I did say it in a few podcasts ago, and it's doing very well in the medias. Everyone agrees with me on TikTok.
We all agree with you.
I just think that there are portions to this religion, man, that offer certain individuals a lot of peace and a lot of community. And I would hate to steal that from them just so that we can all feel okay. But there has to be a happy medium where the churches stop being oppressive, the religion stops being oppressive, and we all just start loving each other. And I know that sounds like the happy dippity hippity movement that's never going to happen, but I do think it's possible to live in a world where we don't cause wars because we want to get oil, and we don't cause wars because you don't believe the religion I believe, or you believe women can be president, so we're going to kill you. It's like, you're not white, so I'm going to shoot you. It's like, we don't have to live in this world. We can live in a world of love. And I do think it's possible. And it hurts to see it not possible yet. and to see people dying for it, or just dying because they can't be themselves. And it's been very prevalent in my life. Close friends have committed suicide for the exact same thing.
Mine too.
And so it's such a real situation. And I just want messages like this to reach more people who believe the opposite, who believe you have to be a man or a woman, and to just test their realities, because I used to think the same thing so in-depthly. I used to debate people about homosexuality. I used to be a pretty strong homophobic individual as a Christian male, and coming out of that and just realizing how wrong I was. It is so important that more people realize how wrong that is.
Yeah.
Because people are killing themselves because they can't be themselves. And it's happening all the time.
And people are killing other people
exactly
for that reason too.
Exactly. And there's so much hate. The comment section, especially on something like this, I can only imagine. We get a lot of hate, and we've gotten pretty good at handling it.
It's horrible. It was horrible to read.
Couldn't even imagine, man. It's heart-wrenching, but...
Yeah, I have direct connection in my past. I was, to wrap this up, right? That's the story.
Yeah.
But I was a junior in high school. I was a part of this class called Peer Helping. Peer Helping was a class that had maybe 9 or 10 students in it. It was an elective, because we had electives in high school. And this was a class that literally, it was peer helping, where you, and this was back in 2006. So very lucky to be part of Northern California. But there was boxes in every single classroom. There was the secret note box where students were allowed to write notes that would go into a secret box. And then individuals from Peer Helping would go around and collect all the other notes. And then in class, for the 9 or 8 people that were in that class, we would all read the notes. And if any of us felt strong enough, it was up to us, we would go to those students that wrote notes that were having mental health issues. Secretly, they didn't want any of their friends to know about, and we would pull them out of class and make it look like the principal wanted to see them. But we would take them to a table during class where nobody was in school and everyone's in class, and then talk to them and offer peer helping. It was an insane class. It was amazing. Of course, you know me, junior year of high school was when it all started. I was I'm no longer a Christian, but I was still a Christian. I've learned so much from where we come from. So Peer Helping was I'm going to be a counselor someday. Obviously, maybe a therapist or something. I'm just going to talk to people. And literally nobody in that class felt safe enough to go pull other kids out. It was scary, You're one of them, and you know them. And it was so how do you keep things private? How do you keep kids from committing suicide? They don't talk to teachers. They only talk to their peers. So how do you do it? You keep it completely private with no public scrutiny. There's no social media. There was MySpace, actually. But it wasn't I don't know. This was a private thing. You would never want to share this, stuff publicly. So I was, good old Nathan Blossom, I'll go talk to the people. And I would go and pull kids out and sit down at their tables and the kid tables or whatever. And I was a junior, maybe I'd pull out a sophomore. Because if you're a little bit older, it felt a little bit.
Yeah.
And all of the kids that I pulled out, and I say kids, they're my age, were suicidal. All of them had said that's and I remember being young, being do you have the means? And they're no. But there was one individual who was, a homosexual in our school. I said that's so weird. They were gay. And back in 2006, so it was 5 people or 4 people in the whole school.
School.
That you knew about maybe. Yeah. And then there was one that was, that's how it felt. And so it was still so stigmatized. And, but this individual was, I'm not going to say what they were, but I was so young and I didn't know anything about transgender fully. I didn't really understand. I wasn't thinking really those terms weren't crossing my brain yet. But this was a very, very, very flamboyant, if not, man going to woman. And we talked, and it was a really sad situation. A lot of family, hardship. But this was like the conversation. It was like them feeling very unsafe in school, being a gay, feminine man.
Mm.
And like a week after talking with them, they attempted suicide.
Were they successful?
No.
Thank God.
You're telling me. That was a really, really weird experience for me.
I can imagine, man.
But like I'm trying to be as like private as possible as I say that, because I know that that's like 15, 20 years ago, but still it's like, that's like that's where it started, you know. It was just like sometime, I think, I don't even know how to even go from there. I just think it's like an experience that I had that was directly related to somebody that was so scared just to be themselves.
Yeah.
You know? And they ended up trying to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And I was so confused. I was like, wait, why? Like, I didn't understand. I had even back then, I was like, we had a great conversation. It was like, but I didn't know what they were going through. I wasn't aware of it fully yet. And even I had major gay qualities about me and didn't know I was partially gay until way later. You know, I was just like, what we need is education. We have it now. We have so much education. We have so much more support. If you're maybe from a community like ours.
Exactly.
Right.
And we're talking 2006, 2007, when we didn't have that much support. And now there's so much support.
And this is now. This is this month.
That's like, this is Alabama. That's what I'm saying. We're talking Northern California is where we're from. Pretty woke state. And Alabama hasn't changed much since. Who knows when? I haven't done much Alabama research, but they've been a red state, far conservative for as long as I've been alive, and it's never switched. And if we know anything, the further red you are, the more homophobic you are, the more you do not support any of the things we're talking about. Which
the more red you are, the more Christian you are. Come on.
It's true, man. It's super true.
Very well.
I wonder if there is a study on how many Christians are not Republican.
Yeah, I think you kind of made a point earlier about this modern Christian, right? Like a modern, like this isn't about getting rid of religion. Just if religion could be more modern, could be more accepting.
I was talking to...
There are Christians that you talked about that you are still friends with that are like in like very much like in churches that accept homosexuality.
I was just going to bring it up. A future interview that we're going to have with someone we were raised with that came out while we were all of the age, around the 16, 17 age, and it caused a lot of controversy in our town. They now live not in the area, but I contacted them to come on the podcast, and they were in church when I texted them, and I was so surprised, and they were like, oh yeah, I go to a different church that doesn't really care. And it's like, wow, I never even wanted to look that deep into it, but good for you that you found a church that
I
let you in.
cannot wait to have them on the cast so I can ask them how they didn't go up in flames walking through one of those doors, you know, because obviously they're going to go up in flames if they go back in there. And then two, how are they able to be like comfortable in that space?
Yeah.
Even if it's a modern church, it's like we accept everybody here, and there's like a Jesus, like a Matthew McConaughey on the cross. You know, I'm like, you know, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. This American.
I'm glad y'all are accepting everybody, but the thing behind you is weird.
Yeah.
So deathy. It's such a death cult.
It is.
It's a death cult. I don't want to be part of a death cult. Even if you're always accepting now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, for sure. Me either. I don't. I found my way.
I guess we get to have conversations with people where they have healed maybe so much. Oh, I can't wait.
And that's what they said. They said, I've done a lot of healing, and I love doing worship. And you know what? Worship was dope. Okay, so I don't blame them.
Yeah, man, and I've sung in different spiritual ways that aren't like Christian worship, and it works. So
yeah,
I mean,
go to a concert.
We know this shit works.
Yeah,
we're getting a little bit more goofy as we normally do in our cast after such a serious subject, and we really wanted to finish this story off with some resources. And once again, you don't know where we live, but here in our county, if you know us, then you know us.
Yeah.
Mental health crisis here in Sonoma County Services offers a 24-hour toll-free suicide prevention hotline for Sonoma County residents. That's 855-587-6373. One more time, 855-587-6373. Administered by the North Bay Suicide Prevention Program, a Buckaloo Programs. The Sonoma County Crisis line available 24/7. That last one was the mental health crisis, is at 707-576-8181. That's 707-576-8181. They also have a crisis stabilization unit, and that's located at 2225 Challenger Way, Santa Rosa, California, 95407. All of this will be in the description of the video. National resources for National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, call or text 988 or chat online at 988lifeline.org. That's 988, that's 24/7. And then Suicide Prevention Resource Center offers a variety of resources and information on suicide prevention at sprc.org.
If you ever are thinking about taking your life, just give it a call before you do.
And also just know that we don't even know who you are, but I guarantee you we love you.
Oh, I love you so much. You don't need to. There's other people out there that are going to love you. You're not getting the love you want right now, but you can get it. Trust me.
Yeah. But I hope that this story that affected us, that we wanted to shed a light on and just talk about these things, I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
This has been the tragic death very recently of Mayor Bubba Copeland.
Rest in peace, Bubba.
So here on the Moral Combat Podcast, we also really believe in connecting with your inner child, especially after having such heavy conversations together on camera while being recorded. And so one of the ways that we connect with our inner child here on the Moral Combat Podcast is doing the same thing that we would do as kids after church growing up, but now we do it after our church with our podcast. And that's play Mario Kart 64. Zachary, let's go on over to the Game Cam. This is the Game Cam. Mario Kart 64.
Mario Kart 64.
And that music that you're starting to hear in the background is coming from yours truly, Nene from the Bay.
Nene from the Bay. Nene from the Bay.
What are we playing again? We're doing Battle.
Doing Battle, and it is Skyscraper 6.0.
6.0.
Skyscraper is always a good game.
That means we played more. We just didn't start doing the .0s, or we didn't. No. Yeah. 6.0 means we've done every battle match
24 times now. We've done
4 times, 6 times over.
Yeah. We've done 24 matches. This is going to be the 24th. And if you're like, but you have 60 episodes. So every episode prior to that, we played board games.
Yeah, board games.
You should go back and check out some of those.
Those are fun.
Those are so
great. And we could
great.
do that again.
We should start bringing, we have way more space now. We used to be on a little tiny table.
Board games
here.
are so fun.
They were.
That was that was crazy thinking back then.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Wario today.
We had some good ones, dude. The hockey one we do were really good. You know what? You were Yoshi last time, so I'm going to be Yoshi this time.
On Skyscraper 2, that's going to be fast. It's going to be super fast.
I swear I forget how to play every time we play.
No, but then you come back. There we go. Okay. We're playing soft.
Yeah, we're soft today.
Oh, he's got a star. Okay. Zach and I have also wondered, like, who actually watches. Oh, wow. Dude. That was a good jump. Who would actually sit and watch the game cam or like listen to it?
Yeah.
And we've met a couple people now who have told us that they listen to our podcast. They love the game cam the most. So we're like, what? No way!
Yeah, that makes me so happy.
That's our favorite part.
Of course, it's our favorite part. The same way it was our favorite part after church.
Our podcast has to be a little bit better than church, man.
Oh, it totally is. But it still was what we did and why we did it. Dude.
Oh, come on.
What are we doing?
Come here. Oh,
I knew I was going to miss it, dude.
Dude, you almost got me to miss it, though. I was about to go right in there with you, man.
That would have been funny.
Where is he? There you are.
Jenny.
Ooh. Where's he going? Where are you going? Yeah. Jump too soon, my friend. Okay, you can have those
I didn't take nothing.
Whoa. Wow.
I gotta stop doing these jumps at the wrong time, man. I'm really making it risky bisky right now.
Evan, my son, said something really funny today, or it was yesterday. Oh my gosh, I got every single
What? Get out of here, dude. Get out of here.
That was such a good drop.
That was.
He was like,
oh my goodness. I've put a lot of bananas on the ground. There's bananas absolutely everywhere.
yes!
Oh, wait. I didn't even realize I had one balloon. Nice. Well played.
Evan
it didn't even take your second balloon, dude.
I know, because I spun you out. Same thing happened to you that one time, remember? He said something along the lines of like, Dad, do you think you're ever going to go back and watch your own podcast and be like, oh my gosh, Uncle Zach beat me so much on the game cam? I was like, what? He was like, yeah, because, I was like, dude, it's really even, actually. I was like, oh, you must just...
We go through phases. We've gotten a lot more even, though. It used to be like I'd win 3 or 4 in a row. You'd take 3 or 4 in a row. And, jeez.
Oh,
yes.
Drove right off that cliff.
You better hope you don't land where I see you.
Damn.
You better hope it's not true.
Oh,
no!
Yes. And
I keep making such foolish mistakes.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And you got a red one, dude?
Yeah, dude.
Not gonna happen. This is so not what I wanted to do.
Come here.
Nope.
I love it when we don't talk. Oh, you got me.
That was a good play, dude. Not gonna lie. Nope.
I want it so bad.
Well, you're not gonna get it. This is ridiculous right now. No! I needed that so bad.
You panicked.
I'm panicking right now.
I know.
I am legit panicking as we're playing.
We're not even talking anymore.
I'm terrified. This is terrifying.
Oh my goodness. Come here, dude.
No.
Come here, bro.
No.
Come here, bro.
Hit this upside down question mark, dude. It wants you.
No! That's
Wait.
No!
Yes!
No!
Yes! Yes, that was a great second game. What are you talking about, dude?
Dude, you realize that it just... How does it give you... I wonder if it's based off time.
I think it's like a millisecond quicker.
You always get a star.
Right to start, baby.
Oh, shoot. Oof. I had to dodge that real quick. If it wasn't for screen sharing, I would not have dodged that.
It was way worse than the Halo days.
You're screen sharing. Yeah, dude, Halo was like, I am going to beat you up in your sleep if you screen share. Oh my Finally, goodness. My break move works. I've tried that so many times and it's just gotten me destroyed. Yes. No. Yes. Come to me. Oh! It's later.
Dang.
Dun, 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 dun. Man, where are you?
Yes.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Yes.
Not good. Yes.
Not good. No! What a play.
That was brilliant.
What a play. Oh, you son of a monkey biscuit. Don't fall off.
Oh, you fell off. I did exactly what you said not to do.
You did exactly what I said not to do. I don't know. How do you reverse?
Sucks.
Oh. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Yes. Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness.
How?
2 stars.
No. Yes.
All right, dude.
Yes.
Come here.
Yes. The red
dude,
shell.
You got a red shell.
No, you got a red shell. Here we go again. Let's play chicken, baby.
I don't want to play.
Oh, you did not just do. Oh, shoot. Oh, snap. I'm freaking out. Oh,
yes.
Oh, snap. Oh,
Why 1 banana? I'm getting solo bananas, dude.
Get over here. Come on, boy.
Stay away.
Come on, boy.
3 solo bananas back to back. Yes. Oh my gosh. Get away. Dude, what is going on?
Dude, this is the craziest Mario Kart game we've ever played in our lives.
It is quite ridiculous. Dude, and you got another red. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah! I didn't even see you behind me. What a play.
Right when you're about to hit that star.
I was, dude. I was going to shoot off the shell and hit the star.
Yeah.
You got it perfectly. It's because you're a drummer. You got the timing.
Yes! That was a great win for us over on the Nene camp.
That was another one of the best skyscrapers.
That was great.
Yeah, skyscrapers are one of the best.
My back hurts after that. I was like really,
Yeah, you really tense it up. Got those veins coming out your neck.
As we're sitting here, Echo, garage on. As we're sitting here, it's getting so much colder.
I know, we're starting to get that cold. We don't have the heater on yet, though.
I'm like freezing. We do have curtains that are literally completely closing off the backside of this podcast studio, which is where we're going to start interviewing people. And I cannot wait. They're going to be right there. It's going to be great. This side is still not covered up. It'll make things hotter.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure out where we're going to put them.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I would think sitting them right here would be best, right? Like with the table with us.
Yeah, I was thinking we could flip that table and this table and make it long
make it a little
ways.
longer. Yeah.
And then it would just be more like a square-shaped table.
That would be sweet.
Because you could put somebody there, technically, then you could put somebody there, and you could have all of, we'll figure it out.
Totes.
Well, great story, Zachary.
Yes.
Good game cam. I've missed you last week, even though I know we met in person and we meet. Yeah, that's what we do. We're family.
Yeah.
But I missed this.
Yeah.
But I look forward to giving more time to our pre-production.
Mm-hmm.
And to all of you back home, we bid you farewell. See everybody. Farewell.
See ya.
Good night.
Over.
Yeah.